Now, if I told you about the Pro Plus, would you be thinking about a smartphone? Well, an iPhone specifically. But today we're not taking a look at an iPhone, we are taking a look at the Smart #1, a B-segment SUV. And we're going to find out more about this car. The Smart #1 Pro Plus is priced at $202,000. The single electric motor produces 268 brake horsepower and 343 Newton meters of torque. The single-speed transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km per hour in 6.7 seconds. The 66 kWh battery provides a drive range of up to 420 km. For more details on the Smart #1 Pro Plus or any other car, head on to Sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Now, this is the brand. Of course, this is the first car, #1, developed on the Sustainable Experience architecture, which shares this platform, same as the Volvo EX30. This is a collaboration between Geely and Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz providing the design, so certain things you might seem like, yeah, that looks really good, and then that tells you where it's from, and then Geely behind the engineering. Now, if you look down here, the two-tone color looks fantastic, almost like a frog, and then you get this LED light strip here, stretching across the front, and the light signature almost forming like a little shy little eyes, LED lights right here. If you look at the concept, I like the grille down here when it had the two-tone colors, but in the production car, the lights got a little bit bigger, which I think fits this nicer as well. Now let's move on to the side. Now, this is the #1 Pro Plus variant, which comes with 19-inch rims, and if you are looking for tires to go along with your rims, check out today's sponsor, Sgcarmart eShop. Sgcarmart eShop is the simplest and easiest way to buy your tires worry-free. Browse from our online catalogue for your car's model or enter the size you're looking for. eShop makes tire shopping a breeze by providing you with all the options at a great price and a list of curated, reliable installers at your fingertips. With eShop, you'll never have to worry about hidden costs. Simply make payment online and head down to the selected tire installer with the purchase order and you're done. Changing tires can be that easy with eShop. Now, this two-tone color stretches across to the rest of the car, and this shape, this bulbous shape right here, doesn't it remind you of like a massive, yes, this massive car? And then you get the rest of the color down here with the fold-away handles that say Smart right here. And when it locks, it blends into the car very nicely. And then a Smart logo down here, now onto the rear. Now, coming to the rear, you have a little bit of a high-mount brake light here. The same light signature in front is also transposed onto the rear right here, almost looking like an EQ quite curiously. And then you have a Smart badging #1 or #1, and then open up the power tailgate too. 323 liters worth of boot space, which is okay in this segment. Now, you can still store your anti-trolley and luggage, of course, but will it pass the anti-trolley length test? Not by a long shot, unfortunately. And then if you open up here, there is a variable boot floor. So if you want to store things deeper like this, you can actually do that quite easily. Over by the side, you're gonna find a 12-volt, a little bit of hook as well as nettings for you to store some of your little trinkets so it doesn't fly all over the place. Now, let's check out the inside. Over by the rear is where things start to feel a lot larger than life. So here with the panoramic sunroof, I'm 1.75 meters tall, and this is my head space, this is my leg space, and this is roughly my comfortable driving position. So you can see there's plenty of space, even though it might be a little bit squeezed, but vertically there's plenty of space. And things here feel rather not bad. There's a little bit of plastic, but most of it is leather, and then you get aircon in the middle as well, USB-A and USB-C charging, and a little space for your phone. If there's nobody sitting in the middle, you can pull down this armrest and access to a ski hatch. So you can even store really long items, but we have a luggage in the rear. And if you need to squeeze 5 people, if you need to squeeze 3 people in the rear, you can just shift on over. This is a rear-wheel drive, but with the batteries underneath, they make for a rather flat transmission tunnel, or almost no transmission tunnel. And if you see that this seat looks like it's a little bit backwards, it's not really, because this is set for easy entry. So when the driver sits down, the seat actually moves forward so that you don't have to adjust your seats so much. Other than that, it's a very nice space. I think even though it is a B segment, but still, 5 people can sit rather comfortably inside the car. And it's especially accentuated by this panoramic sunroof, so you don't feel that claustrophobic. Now, let's check out the front. Now over by the front, immediately you'll notice the first thing is this very beautifully designed 12.8-inch infotainment system with wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, and the way they done up their own UI UX is just probably the most beautiful. The only thing that comes close you'll notice is that other lifestyle brand. So things look really cool. There's this Fox here that you can use as your AI assistant. You can ask it things like, bring me to the airport, and the Fox will say, I'll bring you to the airport. And then you have this very nice globe that I believe when you shift into different modes, it spins around the globe and it gives you that little bit, I don't like that UFO noise, but this little globe shifts around and you can also see your navigation and some fun other little things. There's also wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So you move down here, you get two very large aircon vents, physical vents, so you don't have to meddle about in your in-screen settings. Now, if you just close this up, this looks very, very nicely. And when you open that up, look at that. The motion of that is so buttery smooth. Inside here is a hideaway wireless charger for your phone, 12-volt charger, and then two USB-C slots, one for data as well as one for fast charging. Then you slide this back up to two cup holders as well as one to hold your phone up, and this one is pretty neat as well. And then you move down here, just a deep cubby space like regular, but you can also control the vent inside, so you can treat this like a little mini fridge. Now, if you move down here, 9.2-inch instrument cluster. Don't be fooled, 9.2-inch, and this is rather small. 9.2 inches diagonally seems not too bad, but this is one of the nicest design instruments that kind of just make you forgive its size. Just when you drive around and you look at it, it just looks so colorful, so refreshing, and it just ties you into the rest of the car. And that's how the Smart makes you feel. And down here, you have a little bit of alert sensor, so it can detect from your eye movement if you maybe need to pull over to the side of the road for a little bit of a rest. This is your very Mercedes-Benz gear shift. So you have your park, neutral, reverse, and drive. And then all your lights and wipers are gonna be down here. Now the rest of the cabin, there are a little bit of plastic, but it's the plastic that looks and feels good. It's not just that kind of scratchy plastic, and the seats really hold you in a little bit well, so you don't feel like you're sliding all over the place, even though this isn't necessarily the Brabus edition. One other very nice touch is frameless windows. So that really, again, all of this coming together really ties you in nicely to what it feels like to own a Smart. Now, does this car drive as well as it looks? One way to find out. So, driving the #1 Pro Plus, what does it feel like? Well, things feel refined. It feels a bit upmarket. I get where they're trying to go with this whole Smart thing and why they keep harping on the Mercedes-Benz factor. And I have to say, I feel it straight away. One of the things that strike out the most is that this is undeniably one of the most refined Chinese EVs I've ever tested. Immediately, it speaks out to you. It kind of feels like this doesn't feel like a Chinese EV. It feels like a classic European make, albeit with some nice little tunes, some nice little tweaks here and there that makes it feel modern, in the sense that you don't see them in the Contis of the past, but they are very up to date for today. Like right here, I have a very small 9+-inch instrument cluster, which typically would be something to complain about, but inside here, it just looks so sharp. It's not the highest refresh rate, which I think with that would be perfect, but it is really sharp and really good to look at. Now, if you contrast this to other Chinese EVs where they come in with a smaller screen, this would make... Sorry, the fatigue alarm just went off, I think because I'm looking a lot at the camera, and it has an eye monitor right here, which kind of segues nicely into the next point, which is that the UI on this is also very pleasant. I can very easily go into the large icons, very colorful things are very easy to see. Go into my settings and then go into ADAS from here. Driving assistance while I'm keeping an eye on the road, and on Smart Cruise Control, I can just turn that off. Yeah, so this really does feel like something different. It doesn't really feel like a Chinese EV, so to speak, in that sense. It's not something that I like to espouse about, but yeah, that's kind of hard to say that this is probably the best Chinese EV fitting interior I've ever seen. And perhaps with the incoming brands, this might shift really quickly, but for now, I can see where they're going with this. In terms of drive, this thing, it's not the Brabus, but this thing is mighty quick. It's a single motor rear-wheel drive with 6.7 seconds on the Century Sprint. 6.7 seconds with a blistering amount of torque for its segment, in the sense that it's not a race car, but put your foot down and it is going to take off like a rocket. Now, I have to caveat that while this thing is pretty fast, and it has a Brabus brother upstairs, this thing with its some 2.7 wheelbase, I feel like it's not really something that you want to throw around the corners, especially even though it's an EV, which typically EVs with the batteries down below get a nicer center of gravity distribution. But this thing does sit rather tall and it is rather bolty in terms of suspension, so it kind of rocks you about, and in the sense that it doesn't give the most confidence-inspiring ideas when you're trying to throw it around the bends a little bit quickly. It does take the speed and it does cruise really nicely, albeit with a little bit bumpiness, a little bit back and forth. It soaks up the bumps okay, but it is a little bit rocky. It pitches and yaws. But it's not really something that, if you compare to something lower cut, something that hugs the ground a lot better. But that's not to say that this isn't fun. With its plenty of power in instant pickup, this thing is rather fun. In terms of safety, this car comes with the full suite, so you're gonna get blind spot monitoring, lane keeping assist, active cruise control, driver attention warning, and pretty much whatever you think of, it comes inside this car. And of course, little logos on the mirror that lights up, the lane markings on your instrument cluster, and when you turn on active cruise control, the lane markings turn blue so that you know that your lane keeping assist is turned on, and it will just curve with the road ever so gently, and it is a system that just gives me confidence. And funnily enough, when you have a car and your active cruise control is on, it kind of shows you a little logo like that's the car it's trying to follow after, and it looks like a little lock-on symbol. It looks like you're inside a fighter jet and right about to fire a missile at the other car. Other than that, this thing, because of the segment that it is, the insulation does a pretty good job. Right now, we are driving with low fan speed on the aircon and no sounds coming through the speaker because we are filming, and no road noise. Not a touch. No road noise at all. Wind noise is kept to a bare minimum, and I think that's also owed to how bulbous this car is. So I feel like it pushes away a lot of the wind resistance owing to its form, and that's why you barely hear a thing inside here. It's very, very pristine. Now, this thing sits on the SEA platform, and I have to say, for an electric platform, it does feel a little bit cramped, especially with all of this stuff right here. It is alleviated by the fact that you kind of sit very tall. At the same time, it is also not the most spacious, if you catch my drift. But sitting upright, this thing is more than enough space for you and to sit very comfortably. But at the same time, it's not something that, you're down low to the ground and you're gonna catch corners really well. So is the Smart #1 Pro Plus a will buy, won't buy, or go try? Well, if you ask me, this car is a go try. Why? Because albeit for all the value that it brings, all the premiumness, all the things that they bring to the table, all its smart, all its Swatch Mercedes-Benz art, all the feels, all the premiumness, I still feel like this is one of the best put together EVs in the market. But this thing is not a price pugilist. It doesn't go big on value if you're looking at it against some of the other competitors. It's not to say that this thing isn't worth the money. I feel like this thing is worth every bit. If you buy this car, it's a little bit about the lifestyle that you bring. It goes up against some of the other brands that talk about these kind of things, where you're not just looking at price, you're not just looking at sporty driving, you're looking at the lifestyle that it brings. And it's some of the other brands that straight away come to mind, but I shan't mention them right here. If you look at, of course, its cousin, the Volvo EX30, it's also another premium compact product offering, but I feel like they both ever so slightly have their different offerings. But another thing that I want to touch on is that while, again, I do say that this is not a price fighter, it's inevitable when you're shopping around this segment, you're gonna have to think of the price. And its price neighbors, if you're looking at here, it's the Ioniq 5 Dual Motor, as well as the Skoda Enyaq, which are quite a bit different segments. The value that it brings is going to be quite a lot of difference, even in terms of segment, because you're looking at a different power band, you're looking at a different battery range, you're looking at a different size of the car. So to me, those things bring a lot of competition to the table. But again, a car like this and a car like certain other miniature brands, you don't really think about that so much. When you sit in a car like this, you have to go and try it, because when you sit in it, you drive it. If the lifestyle is what you're looking for, you sit in it, you drive it, and you feel that's the car I want. So that's why for me, this car is a go try. So that's our review of the Smart Hashtag 1 Pro Plus. What do you think? Do you agree with us or do you disagree with us? Let us know down in the comments below. As well as any other car or feature that you'd like to see us try out, do leave it in the comments and we'll read every single one of these. Now, if you've made it this far, don't forget to like, share and subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our future uploads. And if you've made it this far, also follow us on TikTok for the fun stuff. We are at Sgcarmart. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Geely provides the design and engineer. Sorry, I said design twice. Single one of this. Now, if you made it this far, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification.